invite you to come visit with us on the afternoon of March 15, when you'll hear some marvelous music from Tom Teasley, our good percussion friend, who has been here a couple of times to support Reverend Abi's spirit experiences, and also, I want to say it right, Chow Chan, who is been a featured musician at Strathmore for their Young Artist program. So we're looking very much forward to this duo. As you know, we make a fairly large deal of the fact that we present our performances free of charge so that all can attend, but they are not free to produce. And so we encourage you to give us a donation, and if you like what you heard and you want to make another donation on the way out, that's okay. That's okay. I think that's probably all I have to say right now. So Robin Massie has been in this room, I think 2 occasions previously. I met her, we were just discussing. I said, Robin, how do you come up with these performances in New York or Hollywood? She goes, sometimes I get a call from somebody that says, I know you from so-and-so. And that's kind of the way I met Robin. I was looking for a fine violist to play in the orchestra, and somebody said, have you tried Robin Massie? So I did, and my goodness, she's not only a marvelous player, but she's elegant in her presentation. And this afternoon, you're going to see that she and Topher Ruggiero are going to have a great time. They had a lot of fun together. So please welcome Robin Massie and Topher Ruggiero.
It's easier, I don't have to strain. Hi, everybody. That's my dad. Trying to find the best placement for this. We can put it right here. I hope that's okay. Is that okay for everybody? Right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi. I'm really excited to be here. I'm just really honored. This is not my first time at Cedar Lane, as Maestro Henry mentioned. This is kind of a tradition for me. I feel like every January is my time to be here, if not every year, every other year or so. Perfect. Yeah, Cedar Lane's mission for community service and throughout, like in the community here, but throughout the world, is directly in line with my purpose, what I believe music is all about. Just giving of yourself so that you can help others heal. It just so happens that I have 2 careers that do the same thing. As a nurse and as a musician, I'm addressing someone's pain, someone's distress. We always say disease, but it's really dis-ease. We all have dis-ease in life, and how you approach that pain is how you grow. As they say, you know, you grow through what you go through. I believe that wholeheartedly. That's why I'm an artist. I don't call myself a musician, I call myself a muse, because I believe that artistry is connected to God. It's the divine. So it's a gift to be able to translate someone's penmanship, their writing, notes that come from God, and to project them to anyone who's listening. For me, it means that I disappear. And I try to become the intention of the composer. So I want to thank all of you for being here. This is a community. It's not just an audience. You all represent where you live, where you've come from, your culture. You're bringing your culture. You're bringing your energy. You're bringing whatever stress you might have left to come here. And I don't take that for granted. I'm really grateful for that. I also want to mention that it is February, so it's Black History Month. Next month is March, so it's Women's Herstory Month, I like to say. And it's also Heart Health Month, American Red Cross, and American Heart Association, all of those good things. So that's why I decided to wear red, and it's near Valentine's Day, and I hope everyone had a great Valentine's Day. This concert was supposed to happen a year ago, but I suffered an injury, and Maestro Henry was so gracious to allow me to postpone and come back after I healed. And as I mentioned healing, it turns out that God has a sense of humor, and it wasn't just healing of my physical body, it was about healing spiritually, emotionally. I was dealing with a lot of heartache and heartbreak, and that's part of being a woman. So I feel like these two themes of Black voices and women's voices are really joined in this concert, I hope, because they're inextricable for me. I'm a Black woman. So you have no choice but to hear a piece of my story, my journey, So I'm bringing that today, I hope. So at this time, I just want to welcome my friend, Dr. Topher Ruggiero. And he's joining me today. I also want to announce something a little strange. I brought a bit of an enigma with me. I have this portrait over here, and a lot of people think, is that you? No, it's not me. I have no idea who that is. However, it has a mysterious story. It was sent to me on my birthday last year, and as I mentioned, last year at this time, it was a very painful time in my life for a number of reasons. And I have no idea who sent this picture. It's beautiful. I have no idea who made it, it came from New York, that's all I know. And I love it. And I feel like it's representative of a lot of things. Today, what I feel it represents is, as you see, the woman is covering her eyes. I want to present the idea, or offer the idea, that it's okay to see differences. It's okay to see the color of someone's skin. It's okay to know where someone came from. It's okay to acknowledge differences. We don't have to hide and pretend that we don't see them. To not see someone is almost a form of abuse. We all come here wanting to be seen and wanting to be heard to some degree. So it's important to listen to someone's voice, to someone's story, just as it is important to see where they're coming from. And I see that so clearly now, looking at all of you. I'm not looking at a spot on the wall, I'm looking at individual faces, some of whom I recognize, some of whom are new to me. And it's exciting. I was telling Topher, it's like our birthday party. We're just making music and having fun with all of our friends. So this concert is aptly titled Robin and Friends, because you're all my friends. So thank you for giving of your time and your gas and braving the cold to be here today to celebrate Black and female voices in music. And before we begin, I'd like to offer a quote from Dr. Maya Angelou, where she says, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and a little bit of style." It's okay. I'll go back over here. Thank you. That was Telemann's first viola concerto, and it's the first viola concerto ever written, which I think is awesome. So even though he wasn't black, you know, I thought we would start with that because it's kind of the first statement of the viola ever made when she came onto the scene. Although my viola's old. His name's Viola, and he is over 100 years old. So anyway, moving on. We're gonna play a couple tunes. Thank you. Oh, thanks. I didn't know where it was. Do is, oh, perfect. Scott Joplin. It's kind of a medley that was arranged by a friend of mine named Ahmed Alabaka. He's a wonderful composer based in the West Coast, but he's really not based anywhere. He just kind of floats around and makes music everywhere. And he's a really generous soul, and I always try to promote him because he's a very quiet person, but the fact that he's entering as an African-American man, he's entering music into our American fold, our American literature of music. So it's exciting for me to, and also to work with a living composer is really cool. So he happened to do 3 of the arrangements on this program, which is nice, including this Joplin set of rags. And we all kind of know Scott Joplin as the king of ragtime, but he also wrote, 2 great operas, which many of you are probably familiar with. He wrote a ballet as well, so he was pretty prolific in his short time. He had a tragic death, which of course sort of interests me, the nurse side of me. So that's a little bit about Mr. Joplin, and Miss Simone is just a radical figure in history. She's kind of for me, the quintessential woman. She's just a warrior. She started out as a pianist, a classical pianist, and then kind of stumbled upon her voice, literally and figuratively. And I kind of feel like, as a woman, that's kind of where I am. I'm stumbling upon my voice, my God-given voice, just kind of taking life as it comes and not questioning too much, but just allowing things to happen and trying to roll with the punches. And sometimes that's how you change history. I think Nina Simone had quite a fingerprint on civil rights and the way that we see ourselves as Black people, as women, and as people in general. And I think that fascinates me. Lastly, in this little snippet of a set, is Rebecca Clarke, who she herself was a violist. Of course, I have to bring her into the fold, but she was a phenomenal composer, and she wrote she contributed a lot of chamber music, prize winner in competitions, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the way she used her voice, and the way she writes, which is so lyrical and vocal in its essence, and that's really what attracts me to Rebecca Clarke's music. So if I could offer another quote, this one by Sojourner Truth, who said, "If the first woman God ever made was strong enough to turn the world upside down all by herself, all alone, these together, all of us, ought to be able to turn it back and get it right side up again." I think I figured out the setup. I just have to walk back here to use the mic. The next piece is by Nina Simone, To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. If I could offer some sentiments on that. To be gifted, what does that even mean? Life is a gift, so to use the gifts, the talents, the voice that you have, that by itself means you're gifted. We're all gifted. To be black is another story. Not all of us are black. I'm black, and I'm happy about that. And this Nina Simone is so daring to invite us all into the world of a black woman. To be young is a gift. To be old is a gift. So I'm not focused on the word gifted, I'm focused on the word gift. So that's my invitation to all of you. Focus on the gift. If I may say a few words before I step off just for a minute. The next piece was intended to be a piece called Three Dances for Horn and Viola. I was super excited about it. A very special horn player named Joseph Levinsky, who's seated at the back of the house. He's trying to be incognito right now, but he's probably embarrassed. A dear friend of mine. He and I commissioned this piece because we were wondering, like, why isn't there more written for horn and viola? They're like cousins. They're same timbre, kind of beautiful sonorities. And there's just not that much written originally for that combination. So I happened to meet a woman named Elaine Fine, and she lives out in the Midwest, and she is a violist. Of course, I'm attracted to violists. But she's a wonderful, wonderful soul. And I met her in the forum of the American Viola Society, and she mentioned that she just believes in writing for accessibility so that musicians can just have music to play. And I thought that was awesome. So we commissioned this work, and she put it up on IMSLP, which is amazing, which means that anyone, it's free domain, anyone can go and download it. So I invite any violists who might be in the audience, like my student Anna, who's here. I'm embarrassing her too. It's beautiful. So we intended to perform it today, but Joe came from Florida, and traveling is not always super around this time of year. So for logistical reasons, we decided to kind of forego that this time around. But we do intend to premiere it later this year. So in its stead, I'm going to offer just a movement of Bach. But first, I'm going to step away for just a minute, and I'll be back shortly.
I will tell you that I know Joseph Levinsky personally because we served together in the United States Army Band for many years. You can hear him perform with the Maryland Symphony Orchestra. When's the next time that might occur, Mr. Levinsky? Maryland Symphony Orchestra, when might that be? You can go online, look online, Maryland Symphony Orchestra, March sometime. and hear him play. But they can't see you do that. They can only hear you. Anyway, it's nice to see you again. So, since we've gone to this, well, first of all, how about this woman, right? I mean, first of all, everybody knows about solo violin concerts, but how often do you hear a solo viola concert? Not often, right? And this is more like a recital. In fact, I think that's the way she described it, was a recital. She's a poet, she's a muse, she's a philosopher, she's an artist. And I think it's just great that we're having her here, and on the anniversary of the 100th anniversary of women's rights. It's just tremendous, along with everything else she's talked about. Since we've gone to this format of without intermission, I don't get a chance to say much after my initial remarks. So I thought I might take this moment to ask, how many of you are here because you know and love Robin, first of all? All right, thank you. How many of you are here because you believe in our concert series? Thank you. How many of you are here because you saw the concert advertised out on the street banners? I had to save that money and put it someplace else. How? Washington Post. I did my thing 2 weeks ago. Did it show up? Anybody see it in Washington Post? Thank you. Facebook, yes. Yes, we did Facebook. How about the patch? Thank you. If I didn't see any hands, I'd say save that money too. So we have 2 more concerts, the one that I mentioned, and then the last one will be on Saturday night, I believe it's May 15, when we have the 6 Degree Singers, which is a group of young, some professional, some semi-professional, some amateur singers. They're like a younger version of the Cedar Lane Choir. They sing a lot of the same repertoire, just with younger voices maybe. So we're looking forward to having them here. The benefit concert a couple of weeks ago was marvelous, and Jasmine Lee was in the house. I don't know if she's still here, but she played a marvelous Rhapsody in Blue. And that concert was my final concert, my final benefit concert. And we raised a little bit over $8,000 for AIM, Action in Montgomery. If you missed that night and you'd like to support AIM, and you want to throw another check in the basket made out to CLUUC AIM or benefit concert, we would accept that too. I'm not shilling, I'm just telling you. So thank you so much for being here. We'll wait just a couple moments for Robin to take a breath because she's going to come out and play several unaccompanied solos. So give her that time. Thank you so much.
staying with the solo female voice, the next piece is a traditional, very traditional song most of us have heard. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, and I'm sure some of us often feel like childless mothers. I myself am a single mother, and the road is not easy. It's hard enough being a mom with, support all the time. Thank God I have a lot of support. All of you are part of that. Like my friends, family, my dad, his fiance. I'm blessed. So it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be a beautiful mess. It's also okay to embrace your own journey and where you are, and to take stock in that, to own it and to fall in love with that journey. That's sort of the journey I've been on the last maybe 6 years, especially of my life. My daughter is 13, and she's at the point now where people are like, is that your cousin? She's just huge. Kids today are huge. And she just looks grown, and I look more like a boy. She's curvy and stuff. But yeah, it's crazy. But there are many days when I am just a motherless child. I'm like, Mom, help! But then she is a gift. She reminds me so many times that you don't have to be perfect. Just love me. I'm here. I love you. And it's that simple. So the next piece is Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child for solo viola, arranged by Ahmed. Next piece is called Morpheus by Rebecca Clarke. She's the English woman I mentioned earlier in the program. Interestingly enough, she was one of the first female orchestral violists in London, so girl power. Anyway, so I'm very proud to play her music. We heard earlier, I'll Bid My Heart Be Still by Miss Clarke, which is a more reflective piece. This is in a similar vein, but I personally identify with this piece. Over the past few years, I've felt as if I was a butterfly. I'm a visual person, and so I envision myself as a butterfly, and I call myself a black butterfly. And this piece, for me, starts out very much like, a caterpillar, well, first a larva, and then a caterpillar, and then you gain your wings and you soar. And that's what life is all about, accepting when you have to retreat into your cocoon. We all do periodically throughout life, and it's okay. And to find safety in that refuge. We're in a sanctuary right now, a house of God, where we're all in communion, we're all in worship together because all of us are united for one purpose. So for me, that's what Morpheus is about. That may not be why she wrote it, but for me, that's what it's about. brings us to the end of our program. I want to thank all of you again, just for inviting us in. It was so cool. Maestro Henry had posted on Facebook the canvas ad outside, and I like cried. I was like, ah, that's so cool. I mean, it's just beautiful. The hospitality here, the love of music and art and service is something that, as I mentioned, really brings me here all the time. So thank you for having us today. I want to especially thank Topher, who is just wonderful. Beautiful on the inside as he is on the outside. He's just awesome. So I want to leave you with two quotes before our final selection, which most of you know. I don't have to say a thing about that. And there's so much tongue-in-cheek about this song as well. But the first quote is from Dr. Michelle Obama. She says, "I'm an example of what is possible when girls from the very beginning of their lives are loved and nurtured by people around them, like my dad. I was surrounded by extraordinary women in my life who taught me about quiet strength and dignity." And of course we know that she represents so much strength and dignity. The final quote, which I'll leave you with, is by the wonderful actress Viola Davis. And it's awesome. She says, "Do not live someone else's life and someone else's idea of what womanhood is. Womanhood is you."
Robin Fay Massie, Topher Ruggiero. Come back again.